Welcome back to Bloomberg News. I sat down with the head of Europe's biggest oil refiner, Total's CEO, Christophe de Margerie. He said that his company is planning its spending around oil being priced at $60 a barrel. I then asked him whether he expects prices to retreat to those levels. Take a listen.
Medium long term, we see the oil price staying steady, to say the least, with a risk to go to higher levels if we are not, again, capable to meet the new demand. Today, short term, it's true that there is an oversupply. And if it was purely offer and demand, the price of oil would be lower than the $60 per barrel we are seeing. Now, the market is anticipating the fact that in the longer term, there will be maybe not enough oil, and that's why they are anticipating. Some people would say speculating, but definitely the market we have today is a market which is not based on offer and demand physical, but on what they see as the offer and demand in 5-6 years' time.
When you're talking internally about Europe and refineries potentially selling or potentially closing refineries there's obviously the added complication of labor laws. And there have been headlines, there has been concern about counterpressure from unions. October 1st, you've got a meeting internally with some of those unions. What do you expect to come out of that? And are you expecting a strike at this point? Are you prepared for one?
No. I mean, people, our employees, they understand what the market is and what is a need for Total to adapt itself to the long term. They know that we take care of our employees, we take care about everything which would be linked if we had to limit the numbers of employees to make sure that they will not suffer of this. But it's our responsibility, it's my responsibility to prepare things and not to wait for being faced with a strong real concern and then being, forced to adapt ourselves without getting the time to prepare it.
18 billion is a figure that's been floated in terms of what Total is looking to invest. Do you expect that figure to be met this year?
We have a long-term investment planning. We don't change every year. What you spend today is for what you will be producing in 5-7 years' time. What we're producing today is what we have been spending 5-7 years backwards. Mm-hmm. So we have to prepare the future.
What would you be spending that investment on? I mean, are you looking to fill gaps in your portfolio in Brazil, in the Gulf of Mexico, in those areas?
Total is today much more Africa, Middle East, Asia. But we also are in Argentina, in Bolivia, in Colombia. So Brazil definitely would be an interesting target. Today, it is in the hands of Petrobras, mm-hmm. the national oil and gas company, and definitely we see much more there, an opportunity to work in something which we consider in Total as very important, working together between producing countries and consuming countries, and in between companies. So we think, but it needs to be discussed with Petrobras, that we can help them to develop those huge resources that they have now in front of them, but which is a tremendous challenge in terms of how to operate, how to invest, how to manage. And that's part of our work, is to find a way where they do understand that we are not there to be a concern, but we are there to help them.
Lastly, you're in New York in what is a busy week. United Nations General Assembly is meeting. One of the many issues on the table is Iran, and obviously the outlook for political stability within the Middle East. Looking at the geopolitical balance right now, how much do you factor that in to how you conduct business in the oil and gas space?
Our role is not to be doing what is the role of politicians. Our role is to tell them that's what is the situation in terms of offer and demand. Iran is a huge country for oil and gas, and mainly for gas. We will need their gas, we like it or not, medium, long term. And Iran knows this. So instead of saying we can get rid of Iran, or we can get rid of all the countries where we think it's difficult to work. But in that case, we will be short of meeting the targets, which is to bring sufficient energy to the market. Our role is to help the head of state, but at the same time, they have to understand that you cannot, I would say, play with geology. It's where it is, and you have to face it. And our role, again, is to prepare the future and just say Iran is part of what it's needed to cover the needs of our planet. And at the same time, we can do it in a cleaner way.
That was Total CEO Christophe de Margerie saying oil prices would be lower if they actually reflected demand right now. There are buyers available in the marketplace for refinery assets should they consider actually selling some of the refineries they currently own. And oil prices too low right now for investment, really, and definitely indicating they're interested in working with Petrobras within Brazil, wanting to work together there on some projects. Remember, Petrobras just had that recent major oil field find.